Welcome to another episode of Diva Court. We are live.
Now you're welcome.
Now the Diva will welcome you into the show. Listeners, we are pushing out live feeds for you all because we know you want to see the colors, the beautiful colors. Today we are pushing burnt orange. For some of my listeners, orange. Okay, that's fine. I don't judge because Diva Court does not judge anyone.
Oh, yes, we do.
Okay, that co-diva judges.
All day.
This co-diva does not. I'll give an analysis. I'll give an opinion, but I will
Wait,
not.
what was the word you just
An
said?
analysis.
I thought you said elite analysis.
A analysis. Okay, I like that word.
There you go.
It's a legal analysis.
Right.
A analysis.
An analysis.
So we'll give you a analysis.
Right.
She'll give you an analysis. I'm going to give you an analysis. Okay?
Don't try to put that word on me. You said it.
You know what? You were keeping a dictionary, so I decided to put another word in your dictionary.
Well, there you go.
But I'll take it back if you don't want
No, we're
it.
going to keep it.
We are not responsible for what she is going to
And
say.
obviously today what she is saying as well.
We don't own any rights to the topics we're going to talk about because this show is for edutainment purposes only. Now, coming out the blocks, Texas Governor Greg Abbott has defied the federal government at the Rio Grande and said, I will barbed wire this state so that nobody will cross the border to come to Texas. Now, listeners, that's an issue. Guess why? Because the Supreme Court of the United States has already decided that the federal government clearly has jurisdiction over that border. What's your take?
My take is I'm like twofold about it.
Oh, so you got a double take.
I do. Like I'm a flip-flopper on this. On this one, I'm a flip-flopper. Like on one hand, it's like, so why are we not putting up the barbed wire if we don't want terrorists to come in?
Okay, so whoa.
Hold on. I'm not saying, the people who are coming in are all terrorists, but if we have an immigration policy, why are we allowing for, I mean, if we need a barbed wire in Canada as well, like barbed wire the whole place. So that's my American point of view. My other point of view is these people who done colonized America. This is my problem. It's like you come over here, you kill, rape, murder, destroy, savage, pillage. You do all of that to this land. And then you in place rules so people don't do it to you. It's the hypocrisy for me.
That's because
so that's why I'm
smart enough.
I'm a flip flopper. So it's like on one hand, it's like I get it. Like there's immigration policies. There should be a way that we gradually migrate people over because jobs can be taken from people who are of lower educational systems and income.
Let me ask you, I'm glad you said that. Yeah. When was the last time you applied to pick grapes?
Mm-hmm. You think that's what they're doing?
Let me ask you a question.
You think that's not?
When was the last time you applied for a job to pick oranges?
I'm talking about what about construction?
When was the last time you applied for a job to build a house?
What about landscape? I didn't apply for a job to be a doctor.
I'm just asking questions. When was the last time you applied? Because I have never. I'm not sitting in judgment. Remember, I don't judge. I'm just analyzing. I don't want the job to pick the grapes. I don't want the job to pick the oranges.
You a woman.
But that's the point.
That's not what you want to do.
No. But there are women that are coming in and they are actually picking the grapes.
I'm not talking about picking grapes.
That's the point. You cannot separate.
Here's the thing. You know what? They have, it's such a catch-22 because farming is the heart of society because you need food, right?
Hello?
They have made us so detached from wanting to pick grapes, wanting to pick like vegetables and be farmers because it's such an association with slavery. It's so terrible. Like you don't wanna be out there picking. You hear picking, you hear cotton. Picking cotton, That's all you hear. Now you don't want no farmland, which is the land. Oh my gosh! And then the government is subsidizing farmers, like they giving you money just to
because
to not,
nobody wants to do the job.
No, it's not that. It's the stigma. Like honestly,
I don't think it's a stigma.
it is a stigma. Black people don't want to farm because it's associated with slavery.
Okay, so that point you made. There's a portion of people that see it as, that's a stigma. My people were slaves and they had to pick things, and I'm not picking anything. So there's one portion. I'm going to give 1/3 that. But there's another third that says, it's actually hot out here. It's actually labor.
You think they pick it? No.
No, it's actually physical work. You understand what I'm saying? So I just don't like it. It's dirty. It's physically taxing. It's a lot of work. Have you ever watched the videos of the people doing it?
No.
It's not easy work. It's not. When I look at it, I'm like, I won't do that. That's exhausting. I would rather read a book because it's cool.
The people actually out there doing it don't want to do that.
But they're doing it because they have to do it.
But you're saying like those are the only jobs. What about construction?
That's my point. I don't want to do the construction either.
Black people, there are black people who, Jesus was a carpenter.
Oh my God. She putting Jesus to work.
Work.
Hasn't he done enough?
But no, there are black people who are in construction.
And they're not losing any job. Matter of fact, they're looking for some people coming across the border to help them build these houses.
These skyscrapers in Atlanta. You know how much them people get paid? Them people get paid.
Not if they don't have status.
Yes, they do. They get paid under the table.
They get slave labor money.
No, they do not.
Yes, they do, because you don't want me calling immigration on you. So you will take this $5. Plus, in your country,
they're not getting paid no $5.
Here's the thing. In your country,
in those sanctuary states like New York, they getting paid.
Listen to me. In your country, you'd be making $3 US a day.
Not in sanctuary states.
In
all
this country,
no.
you're going to get $5 US.
California, no.
Per hour.
It's a sanctuary state.
What do you think sanctuary state means?
You could, as an illegal, you could do whatever you want.
No, ma'am. No,
That's
ma'am.
what it means.
No, ma'am.
You can get a driver's license.
This is Diva Court, and we're edutaining.
You get a driver's license.
So the edu is what we're going to go to right now. We're going to stop on the taining for a second.
Martha's Vineyard. You can go drink some wine.
Let me edu.
Go drink some wine.
Look, let me edu you, listeners, because we're not going to tain you right now. You cannot, in a sanctuary city, do whatever you want to do.
You can't. No,
okay?
I'm not saying that. You can get a driver's license.
Sanctuaries, no ma'am. No
Why
ma'am.
Pull it up.
No ma'am. You are still required in sanctuary cities to still have to have a social security. You still have
you can work.
No.
What's the point of having a social security?
Listen to me. You can't get the social security. Oh, you don't want to be educated. She don't want to be edu. She said, let's keep the taint.
I just looked it up, and if you don't have status, you pretty much don't have anything. You can't get a driver's license.
That's what I'm trying to explain to her, what sanctuary city means.
Okay, go ahead.
You
know what? You are an immigration lawyer.
Yeah.
I'm not going to argue with you. Go ahead. Tell the people.
No, but for our listeners,
you are an immigration
sanctuary city just means we're not going to haul you from out of your bed and snatch your children away from you in the middle of the day and just take you off to jail and place you in deportation proceedings or hold you in our county jails because we think we can. You understand what I'm saying? So it doesn't give you status. It doesn't give you a social security card. It doesn't give you a driver's license. It doesn't give you anything. It just gives you, we're not coming to snatch you and tear your baby off your breast while you breastfeeding because we found out you don't have status. We're just not going to get involved in that. Okay. We let the federal government do their job. So remember now, if the Fed still comes and knocks on your door in a sanctuary city and you open it, they still taking you to deportation detention. And they're going to remove you from the United States. So I think the word sanctuary city is just being thrown out there.
But you can get a job, right?
Not unless you have the documents to get a job.
Many people that get a job, that you might say, they go off the grid. So like your dishwashers, that they can get paid under the table. Your painters that work under other contractors, they'll say, I'll paint the house real quick. Just give me some money. And
that's why you get cheap labor.
That's where the money resides.
No, because if I come to your house, and I say, all right, I'm going to paint your house. And you say to me, how much you charging?
Black
and I say,
always want the
and you say to me, that's my point. And I say to you, it'll be $10,000. You're like, girl, you crazy? I could go over there and hire Paints or Us, and they got licensed, they insured, and I know who I can sue if they tear up something on my house. No, if you can paint it for $100, you got the deal.
Oh, like, it's never gonna be.
I'm hungry.
$100.
I'm hungry.
It's not 100. And it's not. I'm hungry, Levy. It's then the homeless people are without jobs. Then
listen to me.
That's
the
you know
homeless
what we have
people,
to stop the immigration. We got to stop this migration over because it's taking jobs from the homeless.
What was
Those are two separate problems.
Listeners, I couldn't even keep a straight face
Because the
on that
homeless
comment.
could paint the houses for $100.
Ma'am, when was the last time a homeless man knocked on your door and said, "Can I paint your house for $500?"
Oh, she would never let him in to paint the house. She would never let
Sir,
him in.
you're smelly. Step back.
When was the last time you drove downtown and said, "Sir, come here. I got a job for you"?
I just think it's
How many homeless people under a bridge in your city
Getting back to
have
the
you
topic.
drove
Getting back to the topic.
and said to your kids, "Don't look out the window"?
I think the government is schizophrenic. Like, I don't know. What do y'all want? Like,
No,
are we
they're-
okay? Are we not okay? Can they come? Can they not come? I'm okay with them.
Okay, so
as
here's
long
the
as
thing.
you get in,
Your government is not schizophrenic.
Oh,
Your
but they
government
are.
really knows what to do to solve the problem, but it's not politically correct. And it doesn't get votes.
what should they do
So
to
let me
solve
tell
the
you how
problem?
you solve the problem.
Okay.
Okay. First of all, I'm going to go back to the issue of you cannot bob wire your home. You know why? Because the law says you're not allowed to use deadly force to protect your property unless your life is in danger. So let's start there. You cannot go home tonight and say, "You know what, these neighbors' kids keep throwing this ball over this house and I'm sick of it. So tonight I'm going to call my husband and we're just going to bob wire
But
the
why they-
fence."
you know how in Detroit there's a lot of barbed wires around property.
At the jail? Because it must be at a jail.
No, it'll be like at a it would just be like
A detention camp.
No, like it'll be like a business, and they'll have like the regular fence, and then on top of the fence is like the little barbed wire that go around.
No, ma'am.
You know what I'm
No,
talking
ma'am.
about?
No, ma'am.
You-
That
you know
is
that's not barbed wire?
That's not lawful.
Oh, I
The
didn't know
law
that.
says you cannot use deadly force. You cannot set traps. You can't set a bear trap and say, "I know the kids are going to come over here and they keep coming in my backyard to get this ball. And I'm going to set this bear trap. And as soon as this child steps on this trap, that leg is gone." You cannot do that because that's to protect property. The only time you could use deadly force to protect property is if life is at jeopardy. So it's still not the property. You can't protect property.
There's a lot of properties like that in Detroit.
You cannot protect property. You can protect life. You can protect your life and the life of others. I thought they were going to harm my child. I thought they were going to, even an animal. You think you could, the dog is in my yard, I'm just going to shoot the dog. You can't shoot that dog. It better be trying to attack your kid or it was trying to attack you. You better have a
What if you're
reason.
allergic to the dog? Go kill me.
It's going to kill me for these allergies. I can't
allergies.
get to a Zyrtec fast enough, so I just had to
Right,
pull out this AR and kill the neighbor's dog.
Kill the dog. I was allergic.
You can't do that.
Okay.
So deadly force to protect property cannot be used. You can use deadly force to protect humans, but not property. So let's get back to Governor Abbott. Sir, you cannot use barbed wires to protect the border. You can put up a fence. You can make it really high. You can build a wall. Or you can pretend like you're going to build a wall. And you can
And
collect as
have,
much
like,
money as
Mexico
you
pay
want.
for it.
And let Mexico pay for that wall.
Right.
I think one of the biggest issues that people forget is that you have to step on U.S. soil to grant or seek asylum.
That is
can't-
another thing.
you can't
People's
seek it.
misunderstanding about the law is that I can't be over in Guatemala and file an application for asylum. Hey, it's bad over here. Can I come? That's not how it works.
So what about when they're from Guatemala, right? And they cross over other countries and then they get to Mexico, they don't seek asylum in Mexico, and then they come to America and step
I
on.
agree with you on that. And that's why I say that your legislators are not bipolar, nor are they crazy. They could put laws in place that say you must seek asylum first in any other country that is safe. You understand? Because remember, you still got to put a safety on it. Because if I have to go through a war-torn country and you say seek asylum over there in a war-torn country, that's crazy.
Right.
Because that doesn't make sense. But if you can designate the countries that you say, if the person coming to the United States makes it to the land on any of these 7 countries or any of these 10 countries, they must seek asylum there first and determine that asylum was denied there. And if asylum was denied there, then they can seek asylum in the United States. One, that's going to get rid of a bunch of people.
What about the caravans? You don't think that
Well,
happened?
you have to learn the history lesson on why it's end up like this. we've destabilized a lot of those countries.
No,
down
I
south.
listen. I'm
So,
not.
Do you really want to peel this onion?
No.
So it's like burning your neighbor's houses down, and then
And
they
say they
come
can't
knocking on
stay
your
here?
door. And they're like, they can't stay here.
But these caravans where these kids are sent by themselves.
Okay. So if you are in your neighborhood, say Guatemala, let's just use Guatemala because everybody pick on Mexicans. Let's just say Guatemala. You're in Guatemala. The gangs are out of control. The government knows the gangs are running things. The government's doing absolutely nothing in Guatemala to stop it from occurring. The gangs come to your house and say, Dior, that little girl coming with me tonight. We'll be back to get her because we having her. She's 15. She's ripe. She's ready to be plucked. Okay? We'll be back. You don't have any weapons. You don't know what to do. You can't call the police because they're just part of the corruption. Can't call the government. And the caravan says to you, for $500, we'll make her safe. We'll get out of here and we'll take her to the United States. What would you as a mother do?
Oh, so that's what the caravan is?
That's what they're doing. They're looking at people who are desperate, that are in a situation where they're like, she either stays here and gets raped, robbed, and killed by the gangs.
So who is the coyotes taking the caravan?
No, you have people who are making it a business that they're saying to you,
so they're
I can,
coyotes.
if you pay me, you can call them coyote, you can call them caravan, you can call them, clowns, you can call them transporters, you can call them whatever you want to call them. But these are people who are capitalizing on the desperation of the torn and the destruction in those countries, that are saying to people, if you give me the money, I can get her to America. And then if she gets to America, she survives, she gets a job and she makes enough money, sometimes she can Western Union money back to you and help you feed the other siblings that's there, or the baby brothers, or whatever it is. Because remember, they didn't have an abortion. A lot of those countries are Catholic countries. They don't believe in birth control. They don't believe in abortion. So if they get pregnant, they have the children. So you might have a 5-year-old, 4-year-old, 3-year-old, 2-year-old, because every time I get pregnant, I'm gonna have this baby. Remember, that is also one of the pushes. So you can't punish somebody for having the children, you say, once you get pregnant, have them. And then trying to say, I got to save this little girl. She got to get out of here because she's the oldest one. They don't really care about the baby. They're only focused on her because she's now a teenager. They can get to her. So if I'm desperate as a mother, and that's why I say we can do things to make the border safe instead of using these people as political pawns only in an election year. Because why the only time we talk about borders when it's time to run for president? Other than that, we don't have a problem with the borders. Nobody speaks about it. Nobody talks about how many people are crossing. Nobody pays any attention to what's happening to them. So some of this is political semantics. And I don't know why the federal government hasn't charged Greg Abbott and his cronies with RICO, because that's racketeering. You're violating governmental rules, and you think you're going to have a civil war. Do you think the state's National Guard and the National Guard is you're gonna beat the feds? Is that what you're saying? You're looking for a war because you're gonna beat the feds? It's a bunch of puffering. It's like me and you going and say, we're gonna fight today. We're gonna fight today. And you say, yeah, try it, cross this line. And you and I know better because, our kids are safe.
So he just put it on for the city.
It's a show. So Rio Grande, whatever, that's garbage. I don't agree with it. Governor Abbott, come on, shame on you. Let's do something. Let's get Congress to pass some laws to make the border safe and give these people an option. One of the things we could start with, like President Obama did, is go to their country and fix some of it. Instead of spending billions of dollars to fake out the United States that we're actually going to build a wall, how about we take some of that money and say to them, your government needs to do something.
Why Obama, not Obama, but why, what's your boy name?
Who's my boy? Because it
Biden.
depends.
Why he ain't do that?
My boy is Trump. Is that what you're saying?
Why did Biden not do that?
Because Trump didn't either.
Well,
That's
what
why.
does that have to do with Biden?
So let me tell you what it has to do with him. Because when President Trump was president and could have done
he probably
something,
forgot.
he forgot.
It's like, what? Why am I here?
He was too busy seeking revenge.
I
What am
just
I
was
here
about
for?
to do it.
What am
I
I
just was
here
about
for?
to do it, but I forgot.
Trump was just about to do it, but he forgot.
mean-
But here's the issue. Though.
I don't think Trump was going to do it. I think Trump was still faking on by building that wall.
When-
I don't see the difference between you and me is that I don't believe none of them. I think they're all liars. I think it's a waste of time to even get caught up into this federal nonsense, because all it is about voting people into power, which you're not even voting for. You're voting for the Electoral College and all of that. They're the ones who really voting for president. So we sitting here arguing back and forth about people who we really don't count for. But you need to vote for your local, your state, and your U.S.
Yeah, we know
senators.
most politics is on the local level. That's where you can make most of the difference. But you got to remember, local affects national. So because a lot of these states are copycat. Because now what the article was about is that a lot of all these other Republican governors are jumping on board. Yeah, let's put some barbed wire fences and this, that. And you got governors that are not even a border state. You in the smack dab middle of snowland, and you talking about people coming
borders.
talking about your border.
Ain't nobody want to go to
Colorado.
South Dakota.
Yeah,
Colorado, I'm putting the borders. Oh no, I think Colorado's
Montana.
different.
Does Montana even exist? Is that even a state?
It's like 2 oxen and a mountain.
Ain't but 6 people up there.
Maybe that's where we can build our new promised land.
Is that what it
In
is?
Montana.
What they promising?
Nothing.
To be cold?
Is it cold up there? Montana, like it might be cold, it might be hot.
It borders Canada.
Oh, so we'll promise to be cold.
They can keep that.
Promise a cold.
They can keep that one. In South Dakota, it says South. Is that cold?
It's right under North Dakota, which
like-
which borders Canada.
So it's like Wisconsin. It's like Wisconsin weather or Illinois weather then.
Did you say cold? That's all you have to say is cold. It's like
Illinois is.
it's borderline cold weather.
It's also Michigan.
It's
though.
cold
also big
about
Michigan.
10 months out of the year.
No thanks. That's good enough. Who else said no thanks? Tex MacGyver. Listeners, Tex MacGyver in Atlanta, Georgia was an attorney that pled guilty. Well, didn't plead. Well, he pled guilty recently. Let me change the story. He was found guilty in 2018 of shooting his wife, and then he was overturned in 2022 by the Supreme Court of the state of Georgia. And the reason his conviction was overturned is because the Supreme Court said the trial court failed to charge the jurors with a jury charge for involuntary manslaughter. Supreme Court said that the evidence that was presented at trial was just as good to prove murder, felony murder, or it could prove involuntary manslaughter. So, because the judge refused to tell the jurors that involuntary manslaughter was an option, we have to overturn the conviction. So, went back to trial and he pled. What's your take?
Another reason why I don't like prosecutors. They never do their
Prosecutorial
job.
confirmation?
Oh my God. They just never do their job. They're overzealous or not zealous enough. But this would be another example of being overzealous. Like, nah, we're not going to give you blah, blah, blah. We're going to take it all the way to the end.
Why are you blaming the prosecutor? You got to blame the judge. The defense counsel says, hey, judge, how about you read this charge to the jurors? A jury charge is
And then
what
the prosecutor be like, objection, Your Honor.
The judge was a prosecutor.
Judge,
a
I mean,
former
I make
prosecutor.
your...
Well, you know what? You're right. He said the judge was a former
There you
prosecutor.
go. I make your schedule, Your Honor, and I just, we eat lunch together, and we work in the same building, and separate but equal, and the law should be, oh my gosh, Your Honor. Okay, prosecution.
You win.
You win until you lose.
Okay, so
You know what? I don't like that. Like, how is the DA and the judge in the same building? They walk past each other. They talking to each other. Like, it's just when you're familiar with people, it's a subconscious.
you do get a bond. You do create a
right.
bond because I know your family. I know your kids. I know your
You see
mom
me
died.
here every
And you do
in
small
and
talk
out.
when the case is not
Yes.
going. So I do know a little
Your
bit
Honor,
about
you know how you gave him the book, Your Honor. You did that thing, Your Honor. How you know, Your Honor? You know I'm sorry, but you know sometimes how I get, Your Honor.
That's true.
Like-
you can develop,
Especially
a bond.
the smaller the court,
yeah.
the
yeah.
closer they are.
It's just there's not
The smaller the jurisdiction too. The
like
closer they are.
there's like next time. Please, I don't want to speak it into existence, but I'm gonna be like bias, Your Honor. This is bias.
Objection bias.
Objection
By
bias,
who?
Your
You,
Honor.
judge.
I think we should just go straight to the Supreme Court. There has to be a church and state.
Oh
Church
my
and
God.
state. DA and state and judge.
Peanut butter jelly.
Right. I know.
Just two things.
Just
just-
because the judge and prosecutor goes to the same
Judge
church
and prosecutor, they go to the same church.
don't mean that they
They
colluding.
cousins is aunties.
Why don't you think that somebody could be fair and impartial even though we attend the same church? Why don't you think that I could see the law?
Are you being serious?
I'm just asking a question. I saw the law, I saw the facts, and I can look at them too and judge them without looking at who I'm judging them for.
I just think it's like it's a.
Could you not do it?
Probably not.
You don't think
I
that
don't
you do
wanna
that with
know-
your children? That
my
you
kids?
you
But
look at your children and one is going, that's not
But
fair,
that's
and
the-
you're like,
that's a difference.
no, there's
But
a
then
There's
she's
a
difference.
like, it's a
complete-
difference because I
there's a
like this one
complete-
more than the other one.
No, I don't. Well, that's the difference. Here's the
I
difference.
like your sister better than I like you.
No, I am completely invested in the development, the growth, their personalities, and all of my kids. Like I want them all to win. You know what I'm saying?
Does some judges do? They like, I want you to win if you're winning on the law.
No. I want them all to win. So my bias is for all of them. I'm biased for all of them. So when one is out of control, it's like, you out of control. Because if you would put your hands on my kid one more time, I got you.
That's what the judge is saying.
No.
Defense, you out of control because the
No.
law don't help you. Why are you
No.
making that silly
The
argument?
defense is not in front of this judge all the time. There's no connection.
No, but that's not true. Sometimes it's a
Look
public
at you
defender, and
doing your
no, but think
job
about
showing that
think about the
you're-
public
you're a
defender.
lawyer.
Think about the public defender. They're in the courtroom all day too.
Which is another problem. The public defender and the
They're not in the
prosecutor.
same building. Don't get me
They're
wrong.
not in the same building?
No. Sometimes the public defender's office is in a different building. Because that's another problem that people had. They were like, I don't trust the public defender because they're in the same building with the judge. So most jurisdictions separated that and kept the prosecutor in the building, but the public
Which is
defender's office.
worse. The prosecutor, because I would rather the public defender be in the same room as the judge. You got it's me against the state. How fair is that? It's the whole freaking state. The whole state. The state's judicial
It's not the whole state.
resources.
It's the whole county.
It says the state.
Right, because they're calling it the state. But
All
it's
right.
still the county.
It doesn't matter.
It's not every county.
He represents the top dog, which is what?
In the county.
In the state, though.
No.
The
in
attorney
county.
general of the state.
No, if you're being prosecuted for a state,
I
the
know,
attorney
but
general.
doesn't all DAs eventually have to answer to the attorney general of the state?
No.
They don't.
Nope. Each district attorney answers to themselves. The voters, that's who they answer to.
Okay. I still don't trust it. It says the state. It says the state. Like if it's
So
just the county,
it needs to
it's
say
just the
Fulton
state.
County
But
versus.
it's still their resources. Like my money is small.
No, that I will not take away from you. The resources of the prosecutor
It's
is
unfair.
way better than the resources of a defendant who's hired private counsel and sometimes can't even afford an investigator to go out to a scene and
Right.
investigate what was there, or to afford an expert, or to afford a retesting of
Your Honor,
evidence.
can I get some of that state money to help support my
the
it's
pyramid
only
scheme money?
right. It's only fair. Like this is not a fair trial. Like we're doing dollars to donuts. How fair is this trial?
Not.
Right.
No, I think most judges, I would venture to say most judges can actually listen to the evidence, follow the law, and make a good ruling. I said most, not all. There are judges out there that are biased and they think they can hide their bias, but you could see it in their ruling. And that's why I think somebody needs to develop an organization, maybe you, Co-Diva, that tracks your stats like we track football teams and say how many people you've convicted, how many times you've awarded attorney's fees, how many times you ruled for the state, how many times you've been overturned, how many divorces have you taken the kids away, how many child support cases, and start tracking your ruling so that you can get graded, just like how you grade a team.
Yeah, and you should be able to put them on a spectrum of conservative to liberal.
Correct.
See which kind of judge
You
you're
should
about
be
to
able to
jump
say,
into.
are you going to vote for this person? And every time an election
And
comes,
if they were
the public can go look at your track
and
record.
if they were literally a neutral judge, then their scores should show neutral.
It's going to show neutral, just like you do for senators. Remember, a lot of times when a senator is running, the first thing you do is, we looked at your voting record. We looked at your voting record, and you voted against this, and you voted against that. And we use it against them when they're running, so why not do it for judges? I think somebody needs to come up with an organization that goes across the state, county by county, and tracks the judge's record. And then you're going to get a whole lot of fairness, because if scrutiny is occurring, I promise you, a lot of the judges who are doing it because they think they can get away with it are going to stop. It's not going to stop everybody, but the ones who are doing it now just because, who going to check me, boo?
Who gonna check me?
Those judges will stop, and they would at least be fair about it. But Tex MacGyver said, look, I'm going to plead to involuntary manslaughter. Is exactly what I wanted the jury to be charged with anyway. He pled to 15 years. He's already served 6. He's got a few more months in state prison. Then they're going to release him. He's going to go to house arrest and spend the rest of it. He's 81 years old, people. And you know what's weird about Tex MacGyver? I don't think that man was guilty.
You did back in the day.
I did not in any day. I think what he was guilty of is not realizing that Grady, although Grady, is a trauma center. And no matter who you were going to see there, they were the better hospital. What he didn't know, he's guilty of not knowing his hospitals. You understand? He's guilty of not knowing Grady's your trauma center. He's guilty of not knowing Piedmont is your heart. If something's wrong with your heart, you have a heart attack, you go to Piedmont.
And Emory.
He's guilty of knowing if you having a baby, you go to Northside. He's guilty.
Piedmont was I went to
And
Piedmont.
Emory's where you go to die.
Allegedly.
So he's guilty of not knowing his hospitals, because had he known that, he would have known that if a woman gets a gunshot and she is not seriously injured enough that she could walk out of the car, walk into the hospital at Emory and say to them, oh, he accidentally shot me and died, and she's doing all that talking, Grady could have saved her. Grady could have saved her.
But the problem is that Grady's in the hood.
I understand that.
So he's guilty of being a racist.
But because they're in the hood, they know how to deal with gunshots.
So he's guilty of being a racist because BLM made him do it.
Well, Mr. MacGyver, you're 81. We wish you all the best.
Well, that makes so much sense. Like, he's 81. He was a racist back in the day. Yeah.
So you're going to allegedly
I'm
say the
pretty
man
sure.
is a
Listen,
racist?
no. What I'm saying is that
I'm pretty sure a guy named Tex.
he racist. What I'm saying is that he's 81. What year does that mean you're born in?
Are you serious? You want me to do the math?
Do the math. He's a math person. Produces a math person.
He was born in the 40s. That would be the
Yes.
40s, right?
We're
At
doing
least the
math.
40s. They're doing the math
We're
while
doing
we're
the
doing it.
math.
I think it's the 40s. He was born in the 40s.
He was born in a segregated South where all of
Is
his...
it in the 40s?
About 1944,
That's what I told you, in
You
the
know,
40s.
he ain't walk with it. He wasn't, you know what? Let me tell you something. Have you ever met a white person who said that their ancestors were slave owners? Everyone, not my ancestors. Not my ancestors. And
Would you want to own slaves? No, not when it's not
no,
popular.
but what I'm saying is that, or I never met anyone who said that their family members.
Yeah, he was about 20, 22 when
Right.
civil rights was finally.
Right. So, which means when you're that age, that's the age when you're like, oh, we're going to do it. We're going to change the world.
So what if he was
on the
trying to
opposite
help
side?
Martin
He was
Luther
like
King?
pushing kids out of the door for, when they were trying to segregate the
What if he
schools.
was helping
Said the only
Martin?
time Grady was good is when it was segregated. So, have you met a white person outside of Bernie? Is it Bernie Sanders? Outside of Bernie Sanders, I ain't probably.
There were a lot of people they said helped Martin Luther King.
I
So what happened to
doubt it.
those people?
Where they at?
They were young.
Because there's only a few. Listen, it was only a handful.
We're not saying it was a whole lot.
Right. It's only
Because
a
we
handful.
wouldn't
So
have
most-
racism if it was a whole lot.
Exactly. So most people's ancestors, if they weren't slave masters, they were anti-civil rights. I'm pretty
I
sure
don't know.
he's
I can't go
the
that far.
majority. If the majority,
I don't know Tex
if you
like
have
that.
like 5 blue marbles and a sea of red marbles, what's the odds?
The odds is that
What's the probability?
most people just thought it wasn't their problem.
That is true too, because there's a lot of that going on right now. There's a lot of that going on right now. Educating young people in the poverty-stricken neighborhoods, or Black Lives Matter movement had to start, because a lot of people's like, that's not my problem. You getting shot in the back, that means you did something wrong.
We don't even
You
wanna
getting
talk
choked
about-
out. No,
I
but
mean,
that's what I'm
Black
saying
Lives
is there's a
Matter.
lot of people that will say that's how's that going? You've said it. How's that going to put food on my table? I'm not voting for him. Like,
It's not your
what does that have
problem
to do with
until
me?
it's your problem.
No, the welfare of the blacks is my problem.
Are you sure?
Like I said, it's not your problem until it's your problem.
It is my problem. So
Okay, so is it your problem just acknowledging it as it's a problem, or is it your problem that you actually are actively trying to do something about?
I'm actively trying to do something about it.
Okay, well, I ain't gonna
first
put
I
you on the
gotta get my money up. Second, I do have a plan. I really do have a plan
Okay,
to
well, that's good.
benefit the black community.
That's good.
but I can't say it out loud.
No, please don't.
Because then I'll be in some kind of violation of something.
Yeah, we don't want you to violate anything, please, because I'm not coming to rescue you.
Oh, but you will, because you'll be on retainer.
We can't say
You go where the money resides, where the money resides, where the money resides, where the money resides.
You can't.
But no, I am actively trying to come up with strategies to benefit the Black community.
I think we can. I think we have to start with the educational system, though.
I
I think
we
the
have
more
to,
educated young people are, the better decisions they're going to make.
I think-
So here's what we need.
I
to
think
do.
we have to educate them on ways to financial literacy, ways to make money. And once you learn how to read and be able to make money, you're good. I don't need to know the blah 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 of
So
the blah
you
blah
agree
blah.
with me then, because you're thinking education means teach them one thing, and I'm not. That's not my definition of education. So maybe I should describe it, because a lot of people will say conclusory things and not describe what it looks like. Like, you're being mean. Well, wait.
What does
Could
that
you
look
could
like?
you tell me what that means? So when I say
We ain't
educate
drink
them,
today, so I'm gonna just go ahead and start.
that's the problem with you. You drink too much. Okay,
And
so
smoke too
let
many
me.
blunts, and I be looking.
Oh my God! Please.
They said you
So,
drink too much.
Here's where I think we lack. We don't go back and make sure that inner city schools are actually staffed with people that are educated themselves. And we don't
It's,
really.
no, it's not. I don't even think it's. I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that the staff is not educated. I think that what they're teaching is dumb as hell.
No, I don't think so.
No, but
I don't think so. And let me tell you why.
There's so many things that I do not need to know.
Let me tell you
why
why.
are we not teaching finances? Why are we not teaching things that when I come out of high school I can make money? Why do I have to keep me?
That's your problem right there. Because teaching is mandated from the state. What the teachers teach is mandated. You understand?
Right. It's separate but
so,
equal.
no, they're not even talking about
Separate
separate
but
but equal.
equal.
Right now, they're saying separate and unequal. They
Exactly.
want it unequal. And it's unequal, and we're still not doing anything about it, although we know that it's unequal. So when you go into an inner city school and they have 2 computers to 30 children.
Okay, so that's not okay. So like in DeKalb County, my kids have like the Chrome notebooks. They gave them out to everybody. Like that's not the issues.
No, what I'm saying to
I
you.
went to the hood school and I did well. You know what I'm saying? I did well.
No, but you got to remember, though, that then your teachers were actually scholars. Your teachers were scholars. They pronounced words properly. They gave a crap. They weren't just saying, go to the principal's office. Some of those teachers were like mothers and fathers to these kids. Those teachers would teach you discipline. Back then, the teachers could discipline you. Now, if I say something to a child as a teacher, I'm going to call my mama. The mother comes up there and just rips into the teacher.
The most blatant issue that's still in effect to this day is the fact that schools are valued based off of housing.
Right.
So if the houses in the area are piss poor, you're going to get a piss poor school.
Right.
And remember,
That's-
you can't
again.
move schools. You're
Right,
stuck in
that's-
that area.
That's
Correct.
the issue.
So if
Because
schools
the
were
teachers-
financed in a different way
Exactly.
where it's equal across the board, no
But
matter
that's
where
what
But
it's
I'm saying.
the teachers in North DeKalb are not better than the teachers in South DeKalb.
Well, wait. I disagree to a certain extent.
I think
I'm
the
not saying
resources
all. We
are
can't say
better.
all. The resources in North DeKalb
Are
is
better.
definitely better.
Right.
Access,
So if we have-
planning,
So
the
it-
things that they can get to, the field trips are different.
So if we had those same resources where you don't have the resources, you don't have what you need to get it done, and then you had these kids and you're teaching them this boring ass stuff that half of the stuff you don't like, half of the stuff you're being taught you don't even need. You know, we're not even teaching like, okay, things that can for our society, for our kids, what gives them that joy of learning. We're not teaching those things. You're giving them this boring ass book that tells them that slavery, blah, blah, blah,
that means the teacher sucks. Because let me tell you something.
No, because you have to teach according to what the state tells you to
Okay,
teach. You
all
have to make, there's these statutes, it's this number.
Guidelines.
What is it called?
Guidelines.
Say that again?
Guidelines.
There's guidelines, but it's actually called something else. It's like how there's statutes in law. There's certain things that you have to teach based off of these things that the government has told you that you have to teach. And it's this It's like
Let me
this-
tell you
But,
something.
but remember, teachers have flexibility.
They do.
They
and
don't have
and yes,
flexibility.
they do.
No,
They do.
they don't have
From
Yes, they do.
someone that just came from school.
Trust me.
No,
they have
they don't
flexibility.
have I know
Let
so
me
many
explain to you
teachers
what I'm talking about.
Who quit because they don't have
They
flexibility.
need to quit because they suck and they're not creative. Let me tell you why. You can teach any subject in an interesting manner, and it's because they're not creative in their skills on how to bestow information to a child. I could get a child to learn about fruit by just making up a stupid song, because kids are like that. You understand? Today is apple and the banana came in and the cherry was on top. What did I talk about? Huh? I talked about an apple, a banana, and cherry. I might think teaching about fruit is dumb, but I creatively presented it in a manner that the kid
If
is
it
like,
was only that simple.
it is that simple. The problem is you got people lazy, and the teachers are now lazy, just as lazy as the kids are.
I mean,
What
some
I'm
teachers
saying-
just don't have charisma.
what I'm
That's
saying
different.
They don't have
What I'm
charisma and they
saying
don't
is-
care. They just want their summers off.
I think it's more so about the resources to make education more. I don't think the teachers in North DeKalb are better than the teachers in South DeKalb. Period. I don't think
In
that's the
terms
case.
of, you're talking about, okay,
In
they
terms
both
of
have bachelor's
education.
degree, they both have a master's degree, they both have PhDs. Understood. But they are better because some of them are more creative because they teach in the
So
same.
you thinking all the creative teachers went to North DeKalb?
No, what I'm saying to you is all the creative teachers go where they pay more. Where do they pay more?
They pay the same in North DeKalb as they do in South DeKalb.
Listen to me.
The county standards are the exact same.
Listen to me. The resources are different because when you live in a neighborhood where there are houses that are $1 million, your school gets more money. So now the teacher has more money available to her regarding, or the principal,
Right, but
what they want to do as it pertains to, oh, we're going to be able to do this because we have the funding to do it. They have the funding because they live in the nicer
Because remember,
neighborhood.
there's a lot of teachers out there that have to buy their own supplies.
I
That's
understand
crazy.
that.
A teacher is taking their own money
But-
trying to give a
right,
kid
but those
a
are
crayon.
but again, those are the teachers that live in the more impoverished neighborhoods, which means that those are better teachers because they're more invested. They're more invested in the people who they see. But when you still have to fight the fact that you don't have the resources, we got the same boring ass education, but you guys have more resources than we do. So we're stuck in these boring ass rooms with no extra sources. So the singing is getting old because I got to tell
The
little
singing
Jimmy.
ain't getting old 'cause
I got to tell
I'm
little
not
Jimmy,
singing it.
Jimmy, sit your ass
I'm not
down
singing.
somewhere.
No.
because
I am more
he's
focused.
bored.
I'm more focused on sending him to the principal's office.
The
'cause
principal's
that's-
sending him right
listen to me.
back.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
They are calling the resource officer on him. They locking him up.
No, they
And then I'm
don't.
getting a phone call from the
Well.
parent stating they locked him up. Why? Because the teacher told him something he mouthed off. Are you serious? What? Yeah, and he yanked his arm away from them. So they were like, a simple battery. And now he's heading down to DeKalb County Jail so they can kill him in
Well,
there.
I know that there were this kid and a crew of his 5th grade homeboys wrestled down, choked out a lunch teacher, and the lunch teacher was fired. So and the kids were not suspended. They was still there the next day. So it's still a balance of crazy.
So here's the thing. I, in the words of my father, God rest his soul in peace, will say, I've never seen bad children. I've seen bad parenting.
I agree.
Adults suck.
We can drink to that.
Look, now I'm going to be doing a lot of drinking. Adults fail kids daily.
Right.
Because they don't give them the resources, they don't help them, they don't direct them, they don't give them guidance, and they just focus on all the wrong things every single day. I got this bill to pay. I got this. I got to get a boyfriend. Got to date. Got to get daddy getting on my nerves. Everything except, you know what, sweetie? What do you need? Let me make sure you have your needs. Is that a pencil? Is that a project? You remember back in the day when your parents used to say, "Take out the book, let me see it." What's on the assignment?
They don't even give out books anymore.
They don't. There's no more agenda. You remember that? You used to get an agenda
Oh, when
where
they
you
little.
could send a note.
You give
Yeah.
them what they little,
Why
but when
stop? Why
Because
stop?
they're supposed to be mature enough for them not to
They're
need
not.
that.
They're not even making their bed. What are you talking about? You telling them to brush their teeth and they're in high school. So why do you think that they're going to be responsible now? Not
They're
happening.
going to find themselves in jail with Lucci.
But back to text, because that's where we
Well, we
started
still
this
at
text. Well, that's where we started. We started with text, and then we got off.
It was still an interesting diversion.
We got off on something else.
People want to hear about schools. What they should be teaching is critical thinking.
That is true. and analysis.
Well, they should be teaching
Critical
about
thinking needs to
finances.
come back. Let me
They
tell you
need to
something.
teach about
You could teach
finances.
about money all day long, but if you can't critically think, I could fool you and take all your money from you. Ask Michael Jackson.
but
His
that's-
lawyers ripped
But
him
that's
off.
when you teach about finance. That's it. That is critical thinking.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Teaching about
Financially-
finances, I could show you
I'm
how
not
to
talking
go.
about no. I'm not talking about how to balance your checkbook. No, I'm talking about how to make money from little to no resources.
And you don't think critical thinking can teach you how to make money? Because if you critically thinking, you'd be like, oh, I know what I could do. I could invent this. And when I invent it, if I invested in that, then I can grow it in.
critical thinking, engineering, finances. That's all we need to teach in school.
I mean, broadening
And
your
reading.
spectrum of education allows you to then think outside the box.
But it's
It
too
does.
broad. That's why it's this
No, being-
liberal.
being-
See,
no.
Another
Being
reason why we should just ignore the liberals is this liberal arts education that they're learning in high school. Like if I'm in elementary school, if I'm in school for 12 years, I should come out being able to be self-sufficient, have a job, all of these things debt free. It's free education. I should be able to be debt free. Why do I have to go in debt in order to get a job? It's crazy. That's crazy.
You
to me.
should not be trying to get a job. You should be thinking about creating
Okay,
jobs.
when or a career or
create
or
jobs.
creating or
so
they
what,
don't.
what the producer was saying is if it's broad enough, you keep people from thinking inside a box and they could create
But it's
jobs
too-
because
but it's broad.
they can no, it has to be broad because he has to understand or she has
not,
to
then
understand
it's-
that you can open a business that could hire 1,000 people because you're so creative in your thought process that you can invent something because now you're an engineer. You're like, hey, guess what? Instead of talking on this big old box phone, why don't we try to make it smaller?
what
Why
I
don't we
think-
get the chip? Why don't we? Those are
What I
creative
think-
people, you know.
What I think should be done is when kids get from kindergarten, they should be given aptitude tests to see what their interests are. And
Aptitude tests don't work.
They
you have
failed.
to let me finish.
They failed.
Aptitude tests to see what their
You know they used to
interests
give
are.
that, right?
I know they did it when you were in high school. And then from their interests, like when they tell you what they want to be and you just curb their learning into that direction. If they switch, you can always switch, but you curb. So if they want to be a doctor, all of their books should be geared towards doctor stuff in history, doctor stuff in social arts, and doctor stuff in math, and doctor stuff in science, and their agenda.
Why would you pigeonhole them when you could expose them to
Because it's-
doctor, you could expose them to lawyer, you could expose them to entrepreneur, you could expose
Well,
them to
everybody
nurse,
will have
you could expose,
every-
and then when the kid says, something lit my fire, it was that. Then they can pick. Because I'm not gonna lie
Do
to
you
you.
want to know why they teach art still in high school? Is because that art is such an expressive way to then innovate the future. Because people don't realize it, that a lot of their technology that they use today was based on art.
Yeah, like in the movies and stuff.
Yeah, that's all art. And a lot of people
Like
like
there was an iPad in like one of those Star Wars movies back
Star
in the day.
Trek. And you'll be
Yeah.
like, I'm going to try to find a way to make, that.
Yeah.
And it was at
or
first
like that's what remember that
a pipe dream. It was art.
It was a pipe
I
dream.
think
and
did I
now
get
it's a
you
reality.
I think I got you this movie called Minority Report, or was it The Firm? I think it might have
no,
been.
you gave me the firm.
Okay, Minority Report, which I might have to get that for you, where they have the screens in the air. This is before it's common now, but back in this time they had the screens in the air, and they were moving stuff around and stuff like that, just in the air like that, like with the projection. I'm pretty sure they're trying to figure out how to do that.
It's already done.
But the Minority Report, it would be, you didn't know this, but they would predict crimes before they would happen. So the report will come down the swoop and it'll show you everything that's going to happen so you can stop the crime before it happens.
That ain't happening.
I mean, we could do a Minority Report because
What?
you know what stops crime
Blacks.
the most? No.
Education.
Because poverty follows crime. Crime
It
follows
does.
poverty.
It
So if
does.
you
They're
solve the
married.
poverty
Well,
issue,
then
solve crime.
then why these if poverty is where the money resides, then why these white people, or not even white people, but why are these white collar, that's what I meant to say, white collar crimes where they're taking billions and billions of dollars on a daily basis? Screwed.
It's usually somebody that don't have it that's doing it.
No.
Money's
It's-
fake first,
No, it's like your Enrons and your Madoffs. You know, who would give your money to somebody named Madoff?
Because they want him to make off with it.
I mean, the biggest crime in America currently, where it comes to theft, is wage theft. That's the biggest crime.
Taxation.
No,
No.
theft.
Wage. I'm
As
not
in,
paying you.
You
your
work
right.
for Walmart, and I didn't pay you for that week, and you come back next week, and I pay you for next week, and I cut you short. You go overtime, and I don't pay you overtime.
Yeah.
That's wage theft.
And taxes.
No,
Because
taxes actually goes on.
Tax is different.
No. Because you tax me on my check. And then when I go buy something, I'm also taxed. And then when I die, I also got to get taxed.
Well, you know what? Your favorite governor decided to give a tax break
That's why I
on
like
guns.
Shout out to Kemp. I'm about to buy
But not
3 more
on back to
pistols.
school supplies this
I'm about
year.
to buy 3 more pistols.
But you're not going to buy any back to
I
school clothes?
I can go to Alabama and go with their
Isn't that
tax free.
sad that in your state
not
you
that
can
far.
buy a gun with a tax sale, but you can't buy clothing for your children to get an education with a tax sale? Because remember they used to have that tax sale every year when the kids were
He's
going
not
back to school.
responsible. He's not
Oh,
responsible
I
for the
forgot.
fact
He's
that
not
we're
the
taxed
governor.
on tax on tax on tax.
He's
on
not
tax.
the governor. I forgot.
I
He
mean, we can't tax school shootings now.
Well,
They got to be tax free.
at your rate, we should be taxing them. We should tax the
I'm
parents.
saying that I'm being.
Oh, speaking of taxing the parents, do you see the mother who's being
Michigan?
charged? Yes, for her son's school shooting.
So the dad they dismissed
Well,
the charge?
no. Cases are severed.
Okay.
Don't go there. Slow your roll. The dad is coming up to bat.
Okay.
But the mom is batting right now.
Oh.
And what was surprising about this case is I was shocked. She really was trying to get help for the boy. She was just at the beginning stages of it.
Oh, aren't they always at the beginning?
And when you
stages?
look at the text message and the communications with the school that the prosecution is putting in, I don't think she's gonna get a guilty.
what would it?
Here's the thing. She went to the school, and the school really is playing hindsight as 2020 because the school never said to her, you have to leave with this child. She didn't refuse to take her son with her. She was given the option. But her fear was, this is the evidence coming out in her case on trial, and check Court TV, y'all, because I'm on Court TV. I make a weekly appearance to talk about these cases. But she was contacted by the school. She went to the school, and she was given the option to take him home or not. So do you want to take him with you? And she was like, no, I'm not going to take him with me because I don't want him to be at the house by himself where nobody is governing him. And I can't go to the house right now to be with him and his dad's not there. So she was more concerned about what harm could result from him being alone versus the school being able to monitor him.
When do you take the parental responsibility and tell your job, I can't come to work?
No, when the school says to you, hey, you want this, you can leave him here or you could take, what you going to do? I'll leave
So
him
this
here.
was after he drew this bloody picture?
Yes. The school did not say you have
Who
got
bought the gun? The dad?
You going too far. Stay focused. We're at school.
Why
and
they
the
ran
schools, stop right there. Let's stay at
Why
the
they
school.
was hiding in Detroit?
Let's stay at the school.
Hiding amongst the
Because
blacks.
fear makes people do a lot of things. Okay. So I'm never going to say what I'm going to do in a fearful situation because I don't know until I get myself in it. But the school wants to pretend as if they were separate and apart. I understand school, you're trying to protect yourself from a lawsuit. I hear you, but I saw the evidence and now I'm pivoting and I'm going, whoa, isn't that convenient that y'all didn't see a problem with him, although he was drawing all this scary stuff and you never said to the mother, have you ever been to school where they said, nah, she got to go. She's suspended right now. She's got to go. Have you ever heard them say, the school say, well, parent, would you like a choice regarding suspension or would you like to leave him here? They don't give you a choice. So the fact that she was given a choice, I think was a setup for failure. And the school needs to take some accountability for not saying to her, he must leave now. He must leave now. They didn't do that. They gave her the choice and she said, no, I'm concerned. And then she was texting somebody and saying, I got to get some help. Tell me where I can go to get some help because I don't understand what's going on with it. The school never said to the mother, hold on a second. We have resources. When we see this kind of sign and this kind of drawing, we call mental health or us because they specialize in mental health. And we're going to connect them with you. And we're going to tell you, you got to take him now. And you got to take him to mental health or us. That's not the facts. Now, let me tell you where she's got an issue. There's video of her taking him to the range. That's where she's got the problem. Video was presented with her taking him to the range, and she's actually in that video at the range. And I think that might be where the jurors say, well, I don't know if you took him to the range. But
she didn't want to be bothered with him.
Honestly, you shouldn't even have possession of a gun if your frontal lobe isn't even made
I
finished
agree.
being produced
I
yet
agree.
for you to make critical
If we can
decisions.
scan your brain and your critical thinking
It's not there.
portion of your brain is not developed, you should not be nowhere near. In fact, your parents can't own one. You cannot be in a household with one. Let's go there. If we really want to hold parents accountable, let's go way back. Don't stop here. Let's go way back. The gun can't be in the house, ma'am. You can't buy a gun until your child's frontal lobe is developed and we tested
That's
it.
when they moved out. That's when they moved out.
Well, the parents-
you'll just have to wait for the police to come into your community that the police don't show up in.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, gun safety is nice and all, but I'd rather just tell your children to run if you see a gun. You
I still
don't need to be
blame
the
them.
soldier to fight
I
back.
can't. I mean,
I
here's the
I
thing.
still blame them.
The
She
lawyer-
know what, you know the kind of kids you got. Come
Listen
on,
to
let's
me.
not pretending. You
No.
know that
No.
dude,
No, we don't.
that little dude.
No, you don't.
It's terrible when he at home. He terrible at that school.
Nope.
You don't want to leave him at your house because you know he disrupted and he crazy. You take him to the gun range because that's what you do when you got a crazy child. No, you bad
I
parenting.
can't
You
go there.
already said it.
I know there's bad parenting. I know there's bad
Bad
parenting.
parenting.
But I don't know if it rises to the level of you should go to prison. Because if that's the case, I'm going to open me up a nice big private jail. Because I got some parents that need to go right in there. Okay? I'm going to be full.
You taking him to a gun range and you buying him
No,
a
I'm going
gun
to take
on
the
his
parents
birthday.
to jail. That's what I'm going to do.
You do think that he needs help, but you give him a gun.
Speaking about going to jail, you know who else is going to jail? But he already in jail. YFN Lucci. Ladies and gentlemen, YFN Lucci in the Fulton County second RICO case that had gone to trial before the Honorable Judge Cox, he has taken a plea this week. He said, I'm done. Now, here's what's peculiar about his plea. He's represented by Drew Finland, which is Cardi B's attorney. He had a whole dream team, several lawyers packed in there. Starts a trial, and week 3, he says, you know what, I'm out. He pleads to, and the reason I'm familiar with this case is because I represented a co-defendant in the case. So I'm speaking, listeners, from facts that I know myself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm concerned that he pled because I don't think that this case could have been proven beyond a reasonable doubt. I see you with the glass, and I'm just going to act like I don't.
I'm just listening.
I know, and to listen, you got to be drinking, okay? I understand. So here's why I'm disappointed. I wanted him to go forward because a lot of the evidence that I looked at was an internet dump. It was a bunch of garbage. I understand the facts were a little bit different in his case than my client's case because he had a murder count. My client did not have a murder count. But I'm concerned about even the RICO part because the evidence, in my opinion, was weak. A picture of me in a particular color on Facebook where I'm actually dancing and using signs that I've seen ball players use a lot of times should not be evidence beyond a reasonable doubt
For murder.
for murder. Okay? Here's what's even more peculiar. The murder he didn't plead to. He pled to one gang count and they dumped the rest. So, weep. Foul on the play. Unnecessary roughness. I thought you said he was RICO. I thought you said he was murdered. Wouldn't the murder be more important to the prosecutor than the gang activity? Okay, that's just my take.
So
But
who is he opposed to allegedly murder?
According to them, he's eligible to be out in 4 months. And the reports say that he's already done 36 or 38 months and that he's going to be eligible for parole. But here's what eligibility for parole don't mean parole.
Right.
The parole board makes the final decision as to whether or not you're going to be released on parole. So, Lucci, you might be out in 4. You might be out in more. And I'm a drink to that.
Oh.
All I can say is, ladies and gentlemen, that's the episode for Diva Court.
All right.
We thank y'all for tuning in. You got a comment. Tell us what you want to talk about because we will talk about it for you. Now, I'm not going to be responsible for what she has to say.
Neither will I.
Find us every week on
Spotify,
Apple Podcasts,
Apple,
and Google Podcasts. Also, look for our videos every Wednesday when we push them out for you. And you'll see the beautiful colors. Tell us what color you want us to wear. We'll wear it. Hey, it's Diva Court. We aim to please, and we don't judge. And as we say here,
honey.
the judging diva is over that side.
The judging diva.
And as we say here on Diva Court, every time we close, we'll drink to that. Oh, she already drinking. We know who does all the drinking. We got to drink to that.